this is a really tricky thicket for the government.
It is, but I'm actually rather with you. I think that Tom, I think that the whole thing is slightly overblown. You talk about 40,000 people or something coming over. We're in a population of 56 million. I think we can more or less accommodate that. Of course, there are huge pinch points in certain areas, pressures on the health service and pressures on the education and so on. But in the grand scheme of things, I think that this thing is to some extent rather fueled by right-wing media and is got altogether out of proportion. I mean, compare and contrast with the NHS, where we have 1 in 10 people actually on an NHS waiting list. Now where's the crisis? That's where you find it.
Mm. And, of course, the other crisis that we actually haven't been talking about that much over Christmas but is still burning away is inflation. And, of course, analysts are predicting that inflation will start to go down next year. But will it be enough? Will it be soon enough?
That's a very difficult question. I mean, I have to say that the official figures suggest that we're heading into a rather worse economic situation than was anticipated, which suggests that getting inflation down might take a little bit longer. And of course, here we talk about Rishi Sunak's inbox. Here is a huge problem when he's got up something approaching 1 million people in various walks of life, either going on strike or threatening to go on strike. And he's trying to hold the line and make the point. Look, if we allow wages to go up in line with inflation, then that will actually make inflation worse, which will hit the poorest hardest. So there are plenty of people on the right of the Tory party are ragging him on, saying, this is your Thatcher moment, you go for it. But at the same time, there are very, very real concerns, particularly over the health service. And consider the backdrop to all this. A little while back, the government actually asked the King's Fund, a think tank, to have a good, thoroughgoing look at the NHS, and they came back and talked about red faces in Whitehall. They said, look, the NHS has suffered a decade of neglect. Upshot, not enough staff, not enough equipment, not enough up-to-date buildings. And so you find the nurses have suddenly decided, look, up with this, we will not put, and gone on strike. And there's an awful lot of public sympathy for them.